Hello, Fred. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Fred is an expert in sales. He has a bunch of amazing things that he's going to talk about, like women in sales. He has another podcast as well, but sales is some of the most important things that we want to talk about in this podcast. And with that, Fred, I'll give you the floor so that you can talk about the Institute for Effective Selling and everything in between. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here. My name is Fred Diamond. I'm based out of Northern Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C., although we have customers all over the globe. The Institute for Effective Professional Selling, IEPS, we have a sister organization called the Center for Elevating Women in Sales Leadership. Basically, we help companies with at least 100 sales professionals, and in some cases, thousands. We help them engage their teams and customers more effectively, elevate their leaders, and empower the success of their teams. It's all designed to help them generate revenue and be successful in professional enterprise B2B, typically business to business, or B2G, business to government.
Nice. And what is that like when someone there's so many schools of sales. You have the the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort style, and you have the consultative kind of way. So if you could probably describe some of the methods, or what's the mindset when it comes to you don't have to go into the Institute for Effective Professional Selling, but what is that Fred likes in terms of in a selling environment?
Right. So typically the companies that we work with, Louis, are, like I mentioned, companies with at least 100 sales professionals, sometimes thousands. So companies like Amazon Web Services, Salesforce, Microsoft, Oracle, Hilton, they're all customers of ours, and they participate in our programs. So the Jordan Belfort, hey, what do I got to do to get you to buy this pen?
Yeah,
that doesn't work. Typically, the people who participate, the sales professionals, the selling professionals who participate in our programs and join the Institute, they're working on very intense enterprise collaborative type sales. When you're selling enterprise software and you go up to a CIO and say, what do I got to do to get you to buy this pen? He's going to kick you out of his office and you're never going to talk to him again. So the people that we work with, sometimes the sales process might be 2 years, right? It may involve a dozen people that you have to influence. It may involve partnerships that you need to develop. It may involve bringing people from your sales organization together to strategically think about, where is your customer going? Where is the customer evolving to? And how can you provide real value to them in order so that they can achieve their goals? And it's very challenging right now. Everybody on the planet is going through, how do we solve our customers' problems? AI is in the loop. So customers can get information quicker. They can come up with their own ideas. So we help them understand, what is a true enterprise selling process these days? Who do you need to be involved with? How do you take your messaging from marketing, right? How does sales and marketing work together? And how do you effectively get the message in front of the customer so that you can get them to become long-term customers?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So more like, consultative, but it's more than consultative. You take it in a next level, in which you have to bring up maybe product owners. You need to bring up IT professionals, connectivity, governance, and everything in between. So it's a very complex process in which you want to help the corporation, but at the same time you started the engagement in a way that it makes sense, but you have to go into different steps of the way. So when it comes to the 2-year process that you mentioned, so I'm just so I'm taking notes here just so that I don't miss your points. Is the institute also involved on teaching or empowering professionals to be involved during the entire workflow? I would say yes, right?
Yeah, so we're not really a training company. We're more like a professional association. So companies join and they participate in our programs. So you mentioned women in sales. One of our tentpole programs is our Women in Sales Leadership Forum. So anywhere from 12 to 15 women in sales leaders go through our 3-month Women in Sales Leadership Forum cohort. They develop strong networks, but we teach them decisive decision making and executive presence and communication, so that as they grow their careers, they can build their courage and they can more effectively help their customers achieve their goals. As we're talking here, at the end of the day, if you're not helping your customers get value that they need to solve their customers' problems, you're not going to be successful as a sales professional. So we help them build the courage. We help them find blind spots that may be stopping them as leaders. We help them understand why partnering is so critical and how you can become a great partner. So we don't really have like our own methodology per se. It's really more about helping the leadership team and the leadership individuals grow as professionals.
Right. So to me, it sounds like more than the mindset or the methodology. If I could say one word, it will be resourcefulness. So you need to be super resourceful and also like you need to innovate. So you need to, on every step of the way, you need to be resourceful to be able to contact this person or to dig in a little bit here and there. So if you let it sit there, you might lose the deal, or you might not be providing the value to your partners, or like you said, to be able to just get the company the product that they need in order to achieve the goals that they want, right?
Yeah, so we kind of view it as this: the companies that we work with, the people who work with them are selling professionals, right? So if you're a professional, what does a professional do? If you're a golf professional, you're in the driving range for 2 hours a day. You're on the putting green for 3 hours. You're trying to chip for an hour. Same thing with sales professionals, selling professionals. How do you use AI? How do you present now on web communications forums? How do you strategically think about where your customer's going? How do you prepare? How do you communicate? How do you build teams? There's so many things that go into a customer, a sales professional being a professional. That's why, we go back to that analogy of like, what do I got to do to get you to buy this pen? I may be great at that. I may do some tricks, that are going to get you to say, oh, gee, it's a great way for me to think about what you do. But if I haven't prioritized what you do, if I don't have a mission that I'm trying to achieve as a customer, it really doesn't matter, right? It all comes down to, where is the customer? Where are they looking to go? Imagine if your customer is Bank of America or American Express, right? Or a government agency. You need to know not what are they doing tomorrow. They're not really interested in little things to help them tomorrow. They're interested in big things that are going to help them achieve solutions for where their customers need to go, to help their customers be more productive, to help their customers achieve better levels of service. As the selling professional, you have to be in sync with that. All right, where's my customer going to? If I work with American Express, what is the big challenge that they're trying to solve for their customers in the next 2 years? How do I bring value? Otherwise, American Express doesn't care about me. They're not looking for little tools. They're looking for big solutions. How do I, as a professional, help them solve those problems?
Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes to the professional, the salesperson, and the way that they need to level up on the based on the program that you're putting together, it seems like it's a transformation. It's like a before and after, where they have a transformation and they become a better person, a better professional. What's the on the initiative that you have, the Women in Sales? What's your experience there? I would like to know. It should be very enlightening, and it should be exciting to see how the impact in women and how empowering it is for them to do this. The programs with you guys. So what's some of at least a story or something that you can relate on this work that you guys are doing there?
So we run, as part of our Women in Sales program, we have a separate organization. It's called the Center for Elevating Women in Sales Leadership. And there's a woman named Gina Stracuzzi who runs those programs. We've had sales leaders at the director level and VP level from companies like Amazon, Intel, Salesforce go through our programs. And, one thing and you actually kind of touched on this, they are transformational programs. We've helped them understand that they can be at the table. Here we are talking today, you and I, Louis, in the summer of 2025. Actually, it's almost the fall of 2025. And we've had women who've been in our program who've told me they've been the only woman in the room, right? We know a lot about egalitarian and where things are equal in a lot of ways, but in many cases, corporate America hasn't totally caught up. So we've interfaced with leaders at some of those great companies women in sales who've been the only women in the room. So we've provided like a networking cohort, a business development, a friendship center for them to work together, to support each other, to rise each other. The whole notion that, high tides, raises all boats, if you will. So, it's like anything. You want to build your community so that you can build trusted partnerships, bring bigger solutions to customers at the end of the day. And I've been fortunate in that we've had a lot of participants who have said their participation in our programs has transformed their lives, not just better sales professionals, but as better leaders, as better parents, as better siblings, as better friends, as better relationship with their parents. A couple sales skills that we kind of take for granted, but a lot of people who go through our programs said they've learned to become better listeners. And if you become a better listener in anything in life, it's going to improve your relationships, which then can hopefully help you transform other parts of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. When it comes to, I see that you have some about like a Lyme disease expert mentioned. So what's that you're helping to educate people on that? What was your experience there? Just aside the obvious of being suffering from this horrible disease.
Yeah, thanks for asking about Lyme disease. I am a world-renowned expert on Lyme disease. In addition to hosting my Sales Game Changers podcast, where we've done close to 800 episodes interviewing sales leaders around the globe, I also wrote a book called Love, Hope, Lyme, what family members, partners, and friends who have a chronic Lyme survivor need to know. And I host a very popular podcast that I post every 2 weeks called the Love, Hope, Lyme podcast. Lyme is known as the quiet epidemic. It's a tick-borne disease. Once it gets into the chronic stage, it is incurable. So I've met Lyme survivors from Australia through all of Europe, all across the United States and Canada. And I had someone in my life who had Lyme disease, and I wanted to understand more what this person was going through. And I realized there's a lot of misunderstandings, there's a lot of ignorance. And I wrote the book and I do the podcast. I advocate for Lyme treatment, cure, and support. And one of the interesting things, Louis, is that I've had people in the sales world reach out to me and they'll say, my niece has Lyme disease, right? And they would read the book and it would help them understand what their niece was going through, or a coworker's wife. I get people all the time. I get 20, 30 people a day who reach out to me and say, why did you do this? Like you asked me, and then they'll get a hold of my book or they'll listen to a podcast and they'll say, oh, my sister-in-law has Lyme. This has helped me be very empathetic. And actually, it's helped me develop stronger business relationships. For some people who have those ties, who are in sales and want to have their teams be more successful. And, it also opened up more of a human side, right? Of, we just don't have to talk about, well, Bill, what keeps you up at night? Or how can I add more value to your sales process? Mm-hmm. In sales, having more things to talk about opens up many, many doors, right? It allows you to be seen multifaceted It allows you to have more things to say. Everybody who's a customer, they know that you're trying to sell them something. Every time I call a big company with a sales force, they know why I'm calling. I want to get them involved. But the ability to have something else to talk about, something deep, something that may have changed their life, is definitely something that's very powerful. So I didn't sit down one day and say, gee, I'm going to find an obscure disease and become an expert so that I have something to say. Something impacted my life, someone who I cared about in my life, and wanted to know more about what they were going through, and it led to a multifaceted approach.
That's super powerful, because you're trying to save or change the world one message at a time. So super grateful to have you here. You being someone that has been recording like 800 episodes and doing all these things, and with education, with creating relationships, like that's super powerful. So thank you for investing your time with us. So we'll make it so worth it. Lastly, what are obviously we will be putting on the recording, like anyone seeing this, they will see all the properties. They will see your LinkedIn. They will see reference to your book, reference to the website as well, and probably the podcast too. If you can share those items, we'll put everything inside. And with that being said, I don't know if there's anything you want to share about probably the podcast or probably a book. You were sharing some of that information on that last statement that you provided, but is there anything else you want to share before we close the episode?
No, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss this with you. Appreciated your bringing up the Lyme. I mean, just the reality is, we view sales as a profession. We believe the fact that sales is the most important job in any company. If nothing gets sold, then we don't need accountants or finance people or people on the loading dock or in logistics or packaging, whatever it might be. And we've been fortunate to have been doing this for a while and working with some amazing professionals who hopefully are listening to your show as well. And the final message is, if you're a professional, be a professional. What does a professional do? They study, they prepare, they learn, they talk. They go to events, they discuss challenging topics with their customer. Customers don't need you if you're just going to tell them things, but they could need you if you're going to help them discover things, right? By bringing them things that you've researched, that you've learned, by bringing them what other companies are doing to solve problems that they may have. And also, if you're bringing stuff where they may be going a year or 2, 3 years from now, it's definitely going to increase your value. So thanks again for discussing with me. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Fred, and we'll be in touch. Thank you for the insights and all the info that you provided. Thank you.
You're welcome.